development of human consciousness, and this is the this is the faculty development program that I've been doing, and this is one of the things that we've always been doing. So my today's discussion could probably be kind of repetition for you all. I hope you all had a good sessions yesterday and today morning also, and we will continue from there. There could be some repetitions, kind of reminding you of what we have been told, what we have discussed, and we will continue from there. So I hope you are all able to see my presentation. So I will mostly concentrate on harmony in individual, and maybe a little bit of coexistence of self and body, which we will continue tomorrow again in the next sessions. So yeah, let's discuss what exactly is value. Okay, so we've been always talking about universal human values and all this, but then let me also ask you a few questions, like what do you think value is? Okay, so what do you think value is? If I ask this question to you, what would be your answer? Maybe you all can use your Q&A, event Q&A, and answer me what do you think value according to you is. Okay, so I will go through your answers, and maybe comment on whether it's good, right, or something like that. So what do you think value means? Anyone? Okay, value is ethically something we call. Yes. Okay, very nice. Good. Okay, I guess it's taking some time to reach to me. But then, let me just give you one small example, right? So now, to talk to you all, I'm using my laptop. Okay, I have an internet connection, and the laptop works, and I'm able to talk to you. So when I ask you, what is the value of this laptop? What will you say? Okay, what is the value of this laptop? Okay, maybe 30,000 or 40,000, right? At the most, that's probably the cost that I paid for it. Okay, so we are now talking about value, cost, price, all of these things, right? So what is value? What is cost? What is price? Okay, so we have to see the distinguishing between these three things, right? Like what is a value, what is a cost. So cost and price, maybe economics background people may understand this well. Price or cost is something that which makes me as a seller, makes me as a buyer comfortable. Like I have something and you need something, so I give something to you, you give me something back to me. So for that we fix something for for exchange, some money, some currency. So that's we call it as price. Okay, so but then if I am buying it, why am I buying it? Why am I buying this laptop? So that actually decides the value of it. So if I say value of an object is how useful it is, right? Okay, value of an object. Yes, somebody said like value means usefulness. Very nice. Value is based on output. Very nice. That's also true. Having some use. Yes, exactly. And if at all these things have to be used, it has to be used in a bigger entity, a bigger version of it, right? If laptop is there, I have to be there. To someone, someone to use it has to be there, and some environment has to be there, some good conditions. All of this has to be there for it to be used. Okay, so if I ask you what would be its value if it's not going to be useful to me, I don't know how to use a laptop or whatever that I want it. If it's not being useful, then what would be the value of it? Oh yeah, someone said that I answer it in a different way. The value of this laptop cannot be measured because it is enabling me to participate in this FDP and hear you. Very nice, sir. Okay, so yeah, so value of it is how useful this object, this laptop is to me. If it's not useful, if I'm not able to talk to you, if I'm not able to get my work done on this laptop, then I will say it's of no value to me, right? The same way, we whatever dress material that I have, the shirt I'm wearing, it is useful to me. It is protecting my body. The mic that I'm using, it's enhancing my body properties. Otherwise, I would have to shout or talk to someone at some place. I may have to use a mobile phone. So the value of it is how useful it is to me, right? So now we are all talking about value of objects like laptop, mobile phone, shirt, vagera vagera. So now, what would be the value of a human being? We've been talking about value of objects. Now, if we need to talk about value of human being, what would be it, value? Okay, value means our nature and natural instincts. Yes. Yes, all of these are values. Whatever that you are saying is values, but there is a bigger holistic definition I'm trying to come up with, which is probably it's like a universal kind of definition that I'm coming up with. I'm trying to get the answers from you. Okay, so let me say the value of an object is how useful it is, right? How useful it is in a bigger entity. The same way, if I am talking about human value, how useful or how responsible I am to myself to start with, how responsible I am or how valuable I am to my family. Okay, how useful, how responsible I am to my society, how useful or how what my role is in my nature and existence. Okay, that is the value of myself. Okay, it is how I will define it for now. Okay, but is there anywhere else I can define this value, or is there anything less than that, or can there be more than that? Okay, I have to be useful to myself to start with. I have to be useful for my family. I have to have some values. Is there anyone who says that we should not have values at all? Should we have values at all in the first place? Is there anyone who says I don't want to have values? No, right? It's not really possible. No human being says that. Okay, so now if we all want to have values, if we want to be living with values, and everyone wants to have these values, we need to understand what these values are in the first place. Okay, only then we can live with it. Only if I understand what these values are, then I will be able to live with it. Okay, so what we are actually talking about is my value is where I live. I live with myself. I live within my family as a member of my family. I live as a citizen in a society. I live in the nature in my entire existence. I live there. So I have to have these values everywhere where I live. Just the way we are talking about this laptop, where does it, how is it useful to me, useful to other object, right? Other bigger entity. So same way, what is my bigger entity? It is like everything. So that's my value. And what we are actually talking about here is understanding the reality. Okay, this workshop that we are having now is enabling us, eh, to see the reality as it is. Should whatever that we are talking about is a reality. Like when I ask you, does everyone wants to have values? Is there anyone who doesn't say I don't need to have values at all? Everyone says yes, and these values have to be understood, right? So this is a reality. If I need to understand this reality, okay, if what is this reality that we are talking about? Okay, reality is something that exists, Whatever that we are talking about, whatever that we are seeing, whatever that we are experiencing is all reality. Should it be same for all or should it be different? Should the reality be same for all or should it be different? In fact, reality is something that exists. It has to be same for all. It is it. And that is what we need to understand. We all need to understand. So if we all understand that reality, when it is all the same, why will there be issues in myself to start with, in my family? When we are talking about relationships in family, there are feelings in relationships. There are certain feelings like respect, trust, affection, guidance, and love, and all these feelings, they exist. They are there. And they are also values, right? Okay, so these values are all realities. And only if I understand these values, then only I can live with it. That is the reality. I mean, these values are all reality. Respect is a reality. That's why we are all talking about it. Okay, so if we don't understand this reality, if I myself, of course, we have talked about it. We have heard it. We probably are living with it. But then we are not looking into deeper, and so that we can actually live by it. Unfortunately, that is what is missing. So we are trying to enable that kind of facilitation so that I can start looking into deeper and try and understand the reality so that I can live with it. This is what the major purpose of this workshop. So now let me take an example here. Okay, let's take one of the feelings in relationship. Of course, we will talk little more detailed about relationships in family later, maybe day after tomorrow. But then I'm just taking this as an example. Why is there a need to understand this reality? Okay, let's take an example of respect. Okay, is there anyone who doesn't want respect? Everyone wants respect here. Any person who doesn't want respect? I'm sure nobody says that I don't need respect. Right? So everyone wants respect. Okay, how do I say that? How do I prove that? Let's say, you have a dream. We sometimes we get dreams, right? One of our close friends or somebody is cursing us or abusing us or things like that. Okay, that dream happens in like few seconds, even when during the sleep. Will that be a good dream? Will we like that kind of dreams? No, right? So even in sleep, even while we are sleeping, even someone cursing us, right? Even someone cursing us is not acceptable to us. Someone disrespecting us is not acceptable to us. So now this respect is something that has to be there continuously in us. That's a feeling that we are talking about. Okay, so let me ask you, what do you, if someone, most of you probably have children, right? And you are anyway interacting with a lot of students anyway. So if someone, one of your child, your son, daughter, or your student comes and asks you, what is respect? What do you mean by respect? Okay, what would be your answer? Yes, sir. Someone said like, at the end, everyone will have the same reality. Yes. If I understand reality, everyone else understands that reality as it is, there are no issues at all. So now, since just because we didn't understand this reality, we have issues. The reason that I am in trouble, I am in unhappiness, I am unhappy, basically because I didn't understand that reality. There is a conflict. That is why there is an unhappiness in me. Okay, so now coming back to this respect, now what would be your answer when someone asks? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your slide is not changing.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually. I was just. I didn't change
Oh.
anywhere. Yeah, yeah. I'll come to that.
Okay, okay. I thought it is a problem. Okay, thank you.
So now, yeah. So when we are talking about respect, what would be your answer? Someone asks you what respect is.
Have you changed your slide, Giriji?
I can change. Yeah, I'm just talking about value only. Now.
Okay, then yes, yes, fine.
Yeah.
Actually, people are asking. Okay, yeah, fine. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so now what would be your answer when someone asks you what respect is? Respect is something which needs to be earned only by showing respect and tolerance to others. Right. Ways to pose the response to your questions. Yeah, same place, wherever you ask this question. A great relationship is about two things. First, find out similarities. Second, respect the differences. Good. Feeling others for you when they see your behavior. Yes. Okay, so all of you have given some answers and it is all different, right? I give some answer, you give some answer, and it is all different. We are looking at, different perspectives of respect. Where have we learned about this respect so far? Our learning started with our parents, from our parents. When we are born, first learning that we do is to try to, learn from our parents, whatever their behavior is, and all that. And then once we get into school, college, society, media, all of this gives some information to us. And this information is not, we have not verified all this. We've spent like 20 years, almost 20 years in education. We have only been taking it. We have not verified it, unfortunately. So that's why we have accepted everything. And I'll give you one example. For my sake, if my children comes and ask me what respect is, I would probably say that behaving nicely to the others, saying namaste, saying good morning, saying salam alaikum, and all these things are, we have assumed that that is respect, but it's an expression of respect. It is not the feeling that we are talking about. The feeling that I have inside, I am expressing it to the other. But that's not respect, that's an expression. So now if I'm talking to you all for the first time, right? I'm talking to you all for the very first time. And I'm talking, I said good afternoon to everyone. I said, I'm talking all good things to you all, and all that I'm doing. But if at all, it's a hypothetical situation. If I am cursing you all, for example, why do I have to respect all these people? Possible, right? Why I'm only acting as if I'm doing all namaste, good morning, and all that. But manhi man me, internally, I'm cursing you all. I had to unnecessarily give respect to you all. That situation is very much possible, and that's why we have these issues in our families and societies, and it may be happening. You don't even know that I'm disrespecting. I have a feeling of disrespect. So when I don't understand what respect is, I will behave like that eventually. So now where do I understand? How do I see? This is not respect. Whatever that we are seeing outside from others' behavior is not really respect. Now where do I see? Where do I understand what respect is? I cannot see your feeling, the other person's feelings. Can I? No, right? I cannot see the other person. I can only see their behavior. And what we have been seeing is the other person's behavior. And that's not helping me. I cannot see the other person's feeling. When I have to understand what respect is, I have to see and understand the respect feeling, not the expression. Okay, so now if I have to understand this feeling, I have to look into myself. That is when I can understand this feeling. Unfortunately, we have not been doing it. So to understand this reality, I have to see that within myself. I have to understand that myself. We've been understanding everything outside, everything about the other person, everything about, what this guy said, what Mahatma Gandhi said, what that person said, how this person became successful and all that, everything about others. But what about me? What do I need? How do I become successful? What are the feelings that I have? What are the thoughts that I have? What makes me happy? Never thought about it. So isn't that very important to start with? So that's why I'm saying, if I have to understand everything, reality, I have to understand myself to start with. We say that person is a good person, this person is a bad person, but what about me? Do I want to be a good person or bad person? Everyone wants to be a good person only, right? So, and then we say that, that person is bad, that person is good and all that. So only if I understand myself, I can understand the other person. Without that, it's not possible. I can if I understand my feelings in relationship, I can understand. I can try to understand the other person at least, what feelings that he has or he or she has. Otherwise, it's not possible. Unfortunately, we've been trying to understand what family, society, nature, and existence without understanding myself, the feelings that I have. That's not possible. So that's why this workshop is understanding my values, human values, and role of human being in the larger order, and my value in the larger order only if I understand myself, and then only I can understand my family, my society, and where nature and existence, and this is where I live. So this is what this workshop is all about: understanding the reality, seeing as it is. When I see that reality as it is, there is no conflict. My behavior would be definite. Only if I understand the reality, I will have confidence, self-confidence. What we talk about confidence is when I understand that reality, right? Unfortunately, when I don't understand that reality, when I work on assumptions, information, all of these leads to, there is no definiteness in it. It may be right, it may be wrong. When we are talking about right is the reality. So that's what we need to understand. Okay, so how do I decide my value? Okay, my value, I have to decide. I have to have my own values. I have to decide my own values. Someone else cannot override my values. That's why this workshop is all about giving you certain proposals, and based on these proposals, I have to verify that is true for me or not. Only if it is true for me, then only I can, okay, see, this is good for me, this is bad for me, and it is universal. This is the reality. I have to decide that for myself. Right? So, and this is what we as a teacher or parent should be able to enable to our children. Whether am I making them to reach the reality by themselves. We have to facilitate, not give information or assumptions. We have to facilitate to make them reach to that reality by themselves. And first thing is we have to do this ourselves. Only then we can facilitate. So, whatever that I have is what I can give. If I don't have anything, can I give that to you? It could be a physical thing, it can be knowledge, or it can be anything. Only if I have it, I can give it to you. So this is what is very important. So I'm sure you must have had this session. Unfortunately, today's society, if you look at the kinds of fears that we have, is fear of natural calamities like floods, earthquakes, and all these, right? We have this fear of natural calamities and fear of wild animals. Okay, some tiger, snake, and dagera, all these animals, fear of that. And third fear is fear of inhuman behavior. Right, this fear, which is more right now? And obviously third one, right? We are scared of humans more than natural calamities or wild animals. And it is increasing day by day. And we are much more worried. And this is after all the, so much of development that we are talking about. Technological development, medical development, so much of development that we are talking about. And all of this is happening after so much of education also. 20 years, 17 to 20 years, a student is spending in education, and we are still seeing this more and more. And then who is responsible for all this? It's definitely bad, right? So there's something wrong in the system. So who is responsible for all this? Okay, as a teacher, as a parent, I have to be, made responsible for it. If I want to have these values, I should probably have these values first. Only then I can make the other person understand these values. I can pass it to my students. Only if I understand and live with it. Otherwise, it's not possible. Right? So what is the role of education? I mean, we've been looking at mostly, giving skills, right? current education system, if you look at, and I'm not saying it's not bad. I mean, it's not needed. It is needed. The skills are needed. They have to, people have to earn money. They have to have their living. That's fine. But then I'm not saying it's not needed. But when should there be focus more on skills or more on values? And what have we done to the values? When we are talking about values are important. So is, facilitate earning of money by having skills? Is it all the role of education should be? Is it earning a degree? Is that enough? And unfortunately, if you look at all the bad things are happening outside in the society is mostly because of so-called educated people. So, when whoever we call it as uneducated people, unfortunately, fortunately, they are, behaving very nicely in, rural villages or, very remote places. They are being like very nice. They are not doing any harm actually. So-called educated people are doing much more disasters and much more bad things outside. And, this is a problem, big problem in the education. A lot of people who are doing big jobs. Okay. Where are we leading to? Okay, this is, the basic problem is when I went to, a school, I went to a remote village one time actually. There is this Jilla Parishad school, government school, where, me and my friends were just, interacting out of our curiosity. We just went there to see, spend some time with the children and all that. But as part of that, I was asking children some questions like, what do you want to be? What is your goal? Is what I asked them. So do you know what these children are all basically from agriculture background? They are all children of farmers, mostly 90%. Okay, so and I asked them like, what do you want to be? There's everyone was saying like, somebody said teacher, engineer, lawyer, doctor. So much things they were talking about. And nobody wants to be a farmer, being of, children of farmers. Right? It's a very unfortunate state. And if that is the case, if nobody from the village wants to be a farmer, we will not have food eventually. Nobody grows food. That's not where we want to be, right? Do we? So, I mean, let's see why that all happened. But then, we keep our professions as our goal. Like I am a software engineer. I work in TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, as a software engineer. If I had kept my goal as a software engineer, how much time do I have in a day? 24 hours, right? How much time I'm spending in my office? 8-9 hours. That's it, right? Which is 1/3 of my time in a day. Okay. All these 8-9 hours, am I really doing a software engineering job? No, right? I'm talking to someone else. I'm doing some other work, having tea, coffee, going outside, talking to people, spending some other time, all that I'm doing. Hardly 2-3 hours I'm sitting in front of a computer doing some programming and all that. So 2-3 hours is like 15% of my entire day. And in a week, I have Saturday and Sunday off. So that comes to 10% in a week of week time. In a year, I have sick leaves, vacations, holidays, casual leaves, and leaves. So 50%, I work 185 days or roughly something like that. 50% of my year days are gone. So that comes to 5%. And in my entire life, I work only 40 years maximum. If my age is for 8 years, optimistically, I work only 40 years. So it comes to 2.5% of my entire lifetime is my software engineer. 2.5% is what I want to be. What about 97.5%? Which is more important? 97.5% or 2.5%? I just gave some numbers, but more or less that's how it is. Right? 97% of 97% is much more useful. That's a lot of time. What are we doing that time? And I'm not saying that keeping a goal of becoming software engineer is not important. It is important, but then there is much more thing, na? The other things which are much more important. More focus on that, And if we have understanding about good relationships, if you understand my role in society, my responsibility towards nature, everything will actually help me become that goal, reach that goal also. Very much possible. Unfortunately, when we focus target only on becoming software engineer, there is a problem. We are leaving that 97.5% completely. We are missing on that. So it's very important. See, basically, what does a doctor do? Everyone, a doctor wants to become a doctor. He gets service, money, and some respect. Finally, what does he want to do? Want to get happy and prosperous. Everyone here, whoever is attending, is there anyone who wants to be unhappy and not prosperous? No. What we are talking about is universal values. Universal values are something that doesn't change with time, place, and individual. Okay, you ask this question, you want to be happy, you would have said the same answer 10 years back, 10 years later, now, or anytime. You ask this person, some other person in America, the answer would be same. Japan, the answer would be same. Here in India, answer would be the same. You ask some person, a small child, answer would be the same. Elderly person, answer would be the same. So what does it prove? It is universal. It cannot be changed. So same way, doctor, even though our focus is getting on doing some service, money, getting respect. That's all, right? Do want to become doctor. But then finally, what a doctor wants to become is happy and prosperous. An engineer makes things, makes money, respect, and happy and prosperous. IIT engineer, pretty much the same, probably more money, expecting more respect. And mother also does the similar things. She takes care, she trusts, she respects, gives guidance to children. Finally, by doing all this, what does she want to be? Happy and prosperous. The farmer obviously grows things, money, respect. Yeah, respect is somewhat doubtful these days for farmers. Unfortunately, we're missing that. So a thief, okay, thief also wants to be happy and prosperous by getting things, money, and respect. So basically, all of us having this career, these jobs, okay, that's okay. But then is it all we need? That's enough. Finally, we all want to be happy and prosperous, right? This is a small part of what we all want to be. Okay, these are all steps towards this. How do I reach to this goal? Is by doing some service, getting some money, earning some respect by way of expression or whatever. But finally, everyone wants to be happy and prosperous. This is what our desire, our basic desire, basic human goal. This is my objective is. This is my purpose of my life. Are we seeing that? Okay, unfortunately, our current situation is like this. I want to get a good job, good school, good marks, good degree, good job. Good job means bigger salary. How much salary? Don't know. Bigger than the other person. Get a good car, big house, big house in the sense a posh house, bigger house than the other person. All of this, and it's a rat race. We are just going round over there only. But where do we have to go? It's a common goal. So goal is somewhere. Being happy and prosperous is here, and it's a common. You, I, everyone else here has the same goal, but this is all something different for everyone, and we fight here only. No, becoming a doctor is good. You can gain a lot of money. Engineer is good. Teaching profession is good because we can educate people, and we fight. So what's the use, right? Final goal. If we all keep the same goal, whatever jobs that we do, if you want to be happy and prosperous, I want to be happy and prosperous, and we try together for that because it's a common goal. Let us go together and see the amount of power that we will have if we are together. When will be the work done? When we all work together, or when we all work in our own ways? When we all work together only, we will go to reach to the goal, right? Anything for that matter, any kind of work. When we work together only, we will reach the goal faster, easier, comfortably. And that's the goal that we are talking about. So some people may go, straight. It's basically their competency. Like, some people may have good understanding, may understand it a little faster, and they go faster in a straight line. Some people may go like in a zigzag way, but it's okay. They are in that direction. So direction is there. What we are trying to do is setting up the direction. Okay, this is what your direction is. Unfortunately, we've not even looked at that direction now. So we've not fixed our direction as being happy and prosperous so far. If that direction is set, and the way to get to that direction is maybe different. The expression of respect is probably different. Somebody said good morning, somebody say namaste, somebody say salam alaikum. It is different, but feeling that we have is all the same. Are we seeing that? That is why everyone is saying that I want to be respected. Everyone is saying I want to be respected. I want to be respected all the time. I want to give respect all the time. I want to have respect all the time. The answer is same. It's because it is the same. It is the reality. The expression is different basically because it is not the reality. Having the feeling is the reality. We need to understand that reality. So let's try to understand a little more. So any questions so far? Let me take maybe a couple of questions. Okay. The important thing is to reach the goal through the correct path. Yes. Why it's very difficult to understand what the valuable to a human being. Yeah. So we will come to that. So basically, why is it becoming difficult for us? So we've been in the name of education or in the name of not understanding it well. We have assumed it all coming outside. We have not verified. So let's try to understand why we are doing all this. Okay, basic focus has been only on the skills, right? Okay, so right now, what is priority? Values and skills. Both are required. I'm not saying none of skills are not required. Both are required, but priority is on values. If we have values, if I understand what to do and why to do, I will automatically put focus on understanding the skills, learning the skills. So skills will be automatic. Actually, it becomes easy. And if I just focus on understanding the skills itself, it becomes really difficult actually. And we are just doing that. So getting marks is important, or understanding the subject is important. Just marks is enough. You may, anyone can get marks, rat marke, or by hearting subject. Anyone can get marks. But understanding the subject, where is the focus? Understanding the subject that we are talking about is about values. Getting marks is skill. He can get a job, but will he be able to behave nicely to the other person, with his colleagues, with his family? We are not able to give that guarantee, right? That's why we have issues in the family, in our own families, in our own societies. So when we talk about values, if we understand good relationships, if I understand about myself, why do I need to understand this? Why do I need to learn this? If I know with interest, I will learn it properly. With interest, I will learn it. Nobody has to force me. Nobody has to even tell me to understand this. Right? So that's what, this value education is very important, much more important than skills. Skills, in fact, becomes very easy after that. It is needed, not necessary that, it is not needed, but yeah, it is needed. Okay, so if we look at the current, existence, for example, everything is in nature, right? Everything that we see, including myself, my body, everything is part of nature. If you see in nature, everything is mutually enriching, right? If you look at, what are the different orders that we have? We have, pranic order. We have physical order to start with. All the soil, metals, air, water that we are actually, physical in nature that exists. They are all physical order. The plant order, pranic order, plants, trees, etc., algae or some other things, right? They are all plant order or pranic order. And there is something called as animal order also, right? Animal, birds, fishes, insects, all of these comes under animal order. And how are they living right now in this existence? Like for example, plant order depends on soil, right? It takes water, air, manure, nutrients from the soil, and it grows. It is enriching itself. It grows very big. Okay, so it's happening, right? We are seeing that. And what is a plant or tree doing to the soil when the leaves fall or the seeds fall? The when it dies, goes back into soil, and it's like manure, right? Soil is enriching. So plants and soil are enriching each other. It's happening continuously like this, right? Same way with animal order and plant order. Animal order eats plants. It takes something from plants like fruits or its leaves or whatever. And what does animal give back to plants? Right? It excrete, goes back to soil actually. Soil again is enriching trees and it is useful for the plant order. All of these are mutually enriching each other. When the plant animal also dies, goes back to soil, and it is again enriching plants. So same way, everything is enriching every unit, every order in the existence is enriching each other. Everything is coexistence, coexisting in nature, except human beings. When the human being came into picture, we are taking from physical order, we are taking all the materials that we are talking about, this laptop that I'm using, the furniture that I have, the house that I made, the air that air that I'm breathing, food I'm eating. So all of these I'm taking from the physical order. And the plants, right? The food of course comes from the plant order. And so many things that we make, the furniture that I make is from wood that I get, is from plants. And the clothes that I wear are also from the plants, some from animals also. And the animals also, we take a lot of things, right? The milk, the leather, there's so many things that we take. We breed them, we pet them, and a lot of things that we do from with the animals. And what are we giving back to each of these? Right? It's a big question. Right? So, and all of these, if we see, exhibit a definite order. There is something definiteness. A water molecule, for example, water itself as an behaves exactly like water. If it freezes, it becomes like ice. If it heats up, it becomes like water vapor. And it's exactly the same everywhere, all the time. No change in its behavior. Air is behaving like air only. Iron is behaving like iron only. Water, air, all the furniture that we have, every object behaves exactly the way it is. There is no, randomly no change, just like that. Right? Just plants also. Plants grow. They behave exactly like plants. Neem tree grows like a neem tree. Neem leaves. It comes with neem leaves only. Neem seed only. If you put, it comes as neem leaves only, not like mango tree. Right? So something like that. So it's exactly behaving like that. Animals, ferocious animals behaves like ferocious animals only. And like accrue, like non-ferocious animals behaves like non-ferocious animals only. Dog behaves exactly like a dog. Cat behaves exactly like cat. Lion exactly like lion. There is no change. But what about humans? Is human behaving exactly like human or something else? All the time? No, right? It's definiteness is not fixed, unfortunately. And why is that? Now, within human order itself, we have family. Family also is a human order. Society also a human order. We take so much from our family. from our parents or from our children or whatever. We take so much from our society. Society is doing a lot of things. But then what are we giving back? Right? That also is a question. Okay, so all units around us exhibit definite conduct except human being. Okay, soil, metal, water, all this physical order is based on constitution, how it is made, what atoms, what molecule. Depending on that, it behaves exactly like that. The trees, plants behaves like a seed. The neem seed that we put, it grows a neem tree only. It behaves like exactly like a neem tree only. Cow, animals, cow behaves exactly like a cow. Tiger behaves exactly like a tiger. It's based on their breed. A calf of a cow behaves exactly like cow. It becomes cow only. Doesn't become a lion from the cow, right? So human beings, in fact, if our look at our own behavior, our own children doesn't behave exactly like us. They behave something different. It is because the education, what we give as an education, is different. The environment that they are grown is different. The sanskar that they get, right, is different. So the human beings' definiteness comes from the kind of education sanskar that we give. Okay, unfortunately, this is not right, and this is not completed. This is not fulfilled, and that's why our conduct is not definite. Everything else is definite except human beings. We are not able to see that reality, but we have been given that opportunity or that facility to understand the reality. We are the only ones who have been given that, you know, understanding, and no other, you know, orders need to know that. Knowing is possible only for human beings. So when there is such a possibility, and when we know that reality, there is only a possibility, but we have not reached that. When there is such possibility, we will be able to have a definite conduct, and we will be able to reach that. When I know, I will be happy and I will be confident. So that's what we all need to. And my definiteness, my conduct will be definite. In fact, the education, the definition of education itself is to be able to, is to provide the competence to live with definite human conduct. So the role of education sanskar is to facilitate the development of competence to live with definite human conduct. Unfortunately, we as human beings are not able to be living in this definite conduct. Basically because this is not the role of education sanskar is not fulfilled, it's not completed. Okay, so do you think that there is such a need for education sanskar? Or just skills is enough? Right? And who is responsible for making it available? Who is responsible? We can always say the teacher and parents, but before that, it is me. Am I having that feeling that I am responsible? Okay, and being a teacher, and we are much more responsible than my own, with than other than my own children. I have some other children I need to guide. There are so many other children that who are dependent on me, on my guidance, and making this definiteness, bringing in this definiteness to all the children that I am associated with, all the students that I am associated with. Are we able to ensure such education? Why? Why not? Why are we not able to ensure it? Because we ourselves don't have it. Okay, we ourselves don't have it. So let's try understanding that reality, facilitate that reality by understanding it ourselves. Okay, so if we want to provide such education sanskar, what would be the basic requirements? It is, the requirement is that first thing is I need to understand I need to live with it, then I can pass it along. Okay, so this role of education, what is definiteness, that that we will discuss first. Okay, there is something called as mulyas, values. Okay, these values that we are talking about, mulyas that we are talking about, is between relationships, especially in family. Okay, but these values need not be specifically for families, but also with nature, other things also, but we will explore little later. Okay, and this is my character. Okay, my character, charitra, is something called as in Hindi or other Telugu, other Indian languages. Samaj is society. So whatever that we do, wherever that we live in the society, it has to be accepted. It has to be accepted by every other person, every other uh, person that is there who is living in the society. That defines my definiteness. And naitikta, and it's a policy, and this is consisted of society and nature. Okay, so this is where I live, and I have to have all of this, which will bring in my definiteness. Okay, we can go in deeper of these values, but it's in advanced workshops. We can talk about all of these things. Okay, so let's try to understand what is natural acceptance. Okay, what do we mean by natural acceptance? Okay, I'm not sure whether you've had this understanding yesterday or today morning, but let me give you some questions. Okay, let me ask you a few questions. Okay, so when I asked you, like, is everyone wants to be happy here? Does everyone wants to be happy here? Is there anyone who says I don't want to be happy? Okay, so let me see if there are any person I don't want to be happy. Any person who can say that I don't want to be happy? Any person here who says I don't want to be happy? I want to see one person at least, hopefully, who will say that I don't want to be happy. When you said yes, so it means that you don't want to be happy. Okay, if it is so, let me ask you one thing. Okay, I wanted to have this answer. If it is yes, you do. If you are saying that I don't want to be happy, tell me one thing that you have done so far to become unhappy. You became unhappy, right? But then, is that what you wanted to be? And you put effort for that to become unhappy? Please check that. Okay. So nobody in this world wants to be unhappy. We end up becoming unhappy. We end up, see, are we happy first of all the time? No, right? We are not happy all the time. Sometimes we become unhappy. Sometimes we are happy. So we are becoming unhappy because of lack of understanding that reality that we are talking about. Okay, so the answer that we are get is everyone wants to be happy. It is same for all. Every human being wants to be that. That is the reality. That is the natural acceptance. It is not just with happiness, but with other things also. With respect, for example. Is there anyone who doesn't want to be respected? Anyone? Health, for example. Is there anyone who doesn't want to have health? No, right? So all of this, when I ask, we are looking at our natural acceptance. Answer is same. Same for all. Why is the answer same? Because it's a It's the same. It's natural for every human being. That's why we call it as natural acceptance, right? So all of these values that we are talking about, like happiness, resolution, clarity, satisfaction, peace, they are all naturally acceptable to us. What about unhappiness? Do we want it? Nobody wants unhappiness. We end up becoming unhappy, but are we liking it? Conflicts. Do we want to have a conflict within us? No, right? Lack of resolution, dissatisfaction, health. Just asked. Everyone wants to be healthy. Nobody wants ill health. But unfortunately, without understanding what health means, without understanding what my body is, we are becoming ill health. The current coronavirus pandemic, why did that come? Because we didn't understand what the reality is. Okay, if we didn't understand what nature is, we didn't understand what our body is, what it takes and what it does not take. That is why we are becoming unhealthy, getting attacked by these viruses, right? Interpersonal relationships, like if you look at that, conflicts, mistrust, wrong evaluations, misunderstandings, do we want them? We don't want them, but then they are all coming. So what do we want? Mutual fulfillment, trust, respect, empathy, all these feelings we want. In the society, we want fearlessness, we want mutual enrichment, we want trust. But what we have now, which is not naturally acceptable, fear, exploitation, corruption, domination, wars, and all that. Do we all want that? Naturally, no. In nature, we are already talking about exploitation, domination, destructions, global warming, pollution, and all that. Are we liking it? No, that's not naturally acceptable to us. What is naturally acceptable to us is coexistence. You know, mutually enriching nature. The three orders that are already there, the material order, plant order, animal order, they are already mutually coexisting with each other. They are enriching with each other. And that's what we want. But are we able to ensure it? No. That's the problem that we have. Right? So let's try to see. This is what is natural acceptance that we are talking about. Okay. So we will understand what this happiness actually means, right? I mean, when we are talking about we all want to be happy, we want to be continuously happy. Even a second, if we are unhappy, do we like it? Even for a second, we don't want to be unhappy. That means that we want to be happy continuously, right? Okay, so what does this happiness mean? So this is a state or a situation where I live. If there is a harmony or synergy in it, it is naturally acceptable to me. So all of this, when I have, when I see, when I understand this reality and live with it, okay, if there is synergy, harmony in it, then it's naturally acceptable to me, and I want to be in that state. Okay, if that state or situation where there is natural acceptance, and I want to be in that situation where there is harmony and synergy in it, that state is called is being in happiness. Okay, happiness means to be in harmony, basically. We will define it little more when we talk about self, which we'll do tomorrow. So again, we'll see a little deeper in this. Okay, so but if I have to be happy, I have to be happy in all these 4 levels, right? If I have conflicts in myself, will I be happy? See, sometimes I think of taking a revenge on a person. Some person did something bad to me. Okay, I plan to take a revenge. I plan for 2 hours planning for taking a revenge. If this guy says something, I should say this. All this planning that I am doing. Okay, that guy doesn't even know. He is happy in his own way anyway. right? I've been planning, but finally after 2 hours I quit. This time I will leave this guy. Okay, I just all these 2 hours I was in conflict within myself. Am I in a comfortable state that time? Sometimes I even sweat when I want to, like, slap this guy, beat this guy, all of that. When I'm planning all that, am I comfortable? Not really. So when there is a conflict in me, I'm not in myself. I'm not, you know. Sometimes I plan to buy a car. I have a desire of buying a car, but then I'm not able to. Whether, because basically I may not have enough money. So there is a conflict. I want to buy a car, but I'm not able to. Whether I should buy a car, small car, big car, all these conflicts that I have, right? Am I comfortable? And all that decision is myself, within myself only. Nobody is trying to influence me. With those conflicts, I'm not happy within myself. And in family, we are already seeing, right? We have issues. Is there any person who doesn't have issues in our families? Small issues that we have. Are we comfortable? Are we happy with it? With these issues in our families? No, right? Exactly. With these families, we want to get them resolved, in fact. And every time we want to get them resolved, we, of course, we try to, compromise and all that we do. Next day we don't want them to happen. But then when we come back next day, we will have the same similar issues again and again. Happening or not? Are we happy with it? No. In societies, when we go out in the society, we will come back safely back or not is still a question. It's always fearful. What will the other person do? What will he steal? What will he do? All these questions that we already have. Are we comfortable with that kind of society? And we are already talking about pollution, global warming, and all that in nature. Are we happy with it? No. So if I have to be happy, so my goal is to be happy. And if I have to be happy, it's my desire. Whose responsibility it is to make these things, understand these things? It is my responsibility. So if I ask you this question, right? If the people around you, in your family, your friends, if they are not happy, will you be happy? If the people around me are not happy, will I be happy? No, I cannot be happy. But then I want to be happy. My desire is to be happy. Then whose responsibility it is to make other people happy? I know that, when they are not happy, I'm not going to be happy. If they are happy, I will be happy. And then since I want to be happy, it's my responsibility to make the other person happy. And if it is possible, only if I'm happy, I know how to be happy within myself. And if I live with it, I can make the other person happy. That is the approach that we should be taking care, right? We should be doing. Unfortunately, we've been expecting happiness from outside. We are trying to get happiness from outside. Is it possible? What is possible is what I can understand, what I can do outside is in my control. What other person can do to you, do to me is not in my hands. We've been living in Paratantrata. If the other person buys a car, I should buy a bigger car than him. If he buys a bigger bangla, I should have a bigger bangla. If he buys 2 cars, I should buy 3 cars. We are not we are trying to get happiness from outside, from what salary that the other person has, what cars, what dress that he wears. It's not possible. We are trying to get happiness from outside. It's not possible. Unfortunately, we've been trained, we've been, our education has been, telling us to get all this. It's not possible. So if I have to be happy, I have to be happy in myself to start with. I have to have this understanding in myself. Then only I can be happy in myself. I have to understand the relationships in my family, my role in my family. Then only I can be harmony. I can ensure harmony in my family. I have to understand the responsibility that I have, the role I have in my society. Then I can be happy in society. I have to understand the role that I play in nature and existence. I have to coexist in nature. Only that with that understanding, I can ensure that harmony in nature. Without that, it's not possible. I need to understand all these levels, starting with myself. I can only then I can live accordingly in all other orders. Okay, so let me dig into understanding prosperity. Right, we've been talking about happiness and prosperity. So is there any person who doesn't want to be prosperous? Any person here who doesn't want to be prosperous? No one. In fact, no person wants to be not prosperous. Right? And everyone wants to be continuously prosperous. Right? Every time we want to be prosperous only. We don't want to be deprived. Opposite of prosperity is deprivation. Okay. See, everyone wants to be prosperous, but do we know? Did we understand what do we mean by prosperity? Okay, let's try to look at that and try to understand what prosperity means. Okay, the definition of prosperity is the feeling of having more than required physical facilities. Okay, feeling of having more than required physical facilities. So the first thing is we need to understand what physical facilities that we need and how many do we need. So that is the first priority. The first priority is we need to identify what physical facilities that I need and how many do I need. Okay, only if I understand, only if I identify, then only I can ensure I can have more than that. Unfortunately, we are not even looking at this. Someone else had that physical facilities. No, I need to have that. No, it's not my required physical facility. It's someone else. And we are assuming that since he has it, he or she has it, I also need to have it. That's not my requirement, their requirement. It can be mine, but then did I identify that the same requirement that he or she has is also my requirement? Then it's okay. Then I'm looking at my requirements, my required physical facilities, not the other person's. Okay, if I understand what physical facilities that I need, and I need to understand how many, also what. After that, I can need to ensure that having more of that. Okay, so first thing is identify with right understanding, and I need to ensure availability by producing with right skills. Okay, so this is like if I say I have a water bottle, a 1 liter water bottle, for example. Okay, 1 liter water bottle, how much water does it take? It takes exactly 1 liter because it's a 1 liter water bottle, right? Okay, so now if I put a hole in the bottom, how much water does it take? Unlimited. We keep on pouring water, takes more to 1 liter, 2 liters, 3 liters, 4 liters, keeps on going. This is what our current state is. Because we have not identified what physical facilities that we need and how many do we need. This is what our current state is. And if we don't have that understanding of what physical facilities do I need, how many do I need, we keep on accumulating, right? That's what we are doing. Just identify at our own homes how many physical things that we have bought. As if we would die if we don't have it. But then we have put them across on our rooftop somewhere, these shelves and all. We have not been using it all these years, months and days. So many things that we have bought as if we will die if we don't have it. But then they are just lying there. How many things like that we have so far? Is it right utilization? Is it not corruption? I'll give you one example. This hole that we have in the water bottle, where we keep on pouring water, right? Where is this water coming from? Where is this water coming from? From nature. Do we have limited resources on Earth or unlimited resources? Earth size itself is limited, right? So this water also is limited. So if everyone don't know how much physical things that we need, we assume that I need unlimited resources. We keep on accumulating, keep on accumulating, keep on accumulating, and that's what leads to deprivation and corruption. Finally leads to corruption. That's what is called corruption. When I don't understand, that also is corruption. Basically, when we are keeping, when we buy things and we are not using them and keeping them aside, is also we are not making it available for other persons, and we are depriving the nature, exploiting the nature. The water is coming from nature. We are exploiting water. We are exploiting the other person. We are not making the other person also have the same water available. And that is why petrol, all the fossil fuels that are going extinct. In another 15-20 years, we will not have petrol or diesel. That is because I am using more than what I need. So, I mean, that also is exploitation of nature, exploitation of the other person. And I'm not saying that we should not buy all this. See, this is not what I'm saying. What we are saying, we should buy, we should get things after identifying what I need. So what we are saying is identify what you need, get them and use them. Buy all kinds of gadgets. If you want to buy a phone, get an iPhone or whatever that you want to buy. But are we using all its features to continuously, I mean, at the most utility of it? That is what needs to be ensured. 2 phones, 3 phones, fine, no problem. If you are using it, fine, go ahead and buy 3 phones. Go ahead and buy 10 cars, no problem. But make sure that we use all 10 cars, no? Why are we crying when somebody else buys 15 cars? And we still keep the 10 cars itself unused. Is it not exploitation and corruption? Corruption starts at home when we don't understand prosperity. Okay, so this is very important to understand. Okay, so a prosperity, if I understand what prosperity is, if I acquire them based on my needs and how many ever that I need, and if I ensure that availability, I feel prosperous. What will happen if I pour, with no hole in the bottle, 1 liter water bottle? If I pour more than 1 liter, what will happen? It will overflow. It will go back to nature only, right? You can give that water to someone else, right? If I feel prosperous, if I have that feeling that I have more, I will share. If I feel that I have more than required, I will share. I have more, so I will share. So I'm trying, if I feel prosperous, I will try to make the other person also prosperous. So a prosperous person thinks of right utilization. I think of right utilization. If I have 10 cars, I will try to make use of them by giving it to someone. You drive, you get money out of it. Of course, I will also take some money because I bought it. I also need to feel some prosperous, but not at the motto of making profit out of it. So we will actually share. And this sharing by nature, it's already there. The profit is already there in nature. I will give you a small example here. Okay. You have one mango seed, for example. Okay, mango seed is there. If you plant it, okay, I have one mango. I ate one mango, and I plant it. How many? After 3-4 years, a big mango tree comes. How many more mangoes I will have? Thousands. After 3-4 years, I will have 1,000 mangoes. That's the profit that we are talking about. With one, after 3-4 years, it's multiplied like anything. So much prosperity is already there in nature. And why are we fighting? When I have 1,000 mangoes, will I eat all 1,000? No, right? I will share. So if I have that feeling of more, I will share. Otherwise, if I don't have that feeling, I will not, put the mango tree itself. I will, eat that mango seed and I will waste it. I will, uh, you know, that's the problem that we have. A deprived person thinks of accumulation and exploiting both the other person as well as nature. We've been deprived all these years. So, and again, I'm not saying that we should not leave our jobs, don't earn. No, get as much salary that we are getting. No, try to get hikes, salary increments, all that, no problem. But then if we feel prosperous, we will get that salary, we will get all the physical facilities, but we will rightly utilize. That's the purpose of feeling prosperity, not to tyag, it's not like sacrifice or anything. That it's not that. Sacrifice is still unhappiness. We will not be comfortable when we sacrifice. What I'm saying is feel prosperous and try to share. That's it. Okay, so there are three kinds of people, or two kinds that are existing right now: lacking physical facilities, unhappy and deprived. There are people who don't have physical facilities, but how many are there? Very few, 1%, 2%. And they are also there basically because of our not understanding physical prosperity. Okay, that's it, right? In fact, WHO consensus says that the food production in the whole world is 6 times the actual need. Let's say, number of people are 100. The food prepared right now is, the grains that are grown right now is 600 for 600 people. And we are still seeing people dying out of hunger. Why is that? Because of, we people not understanding this prosperity. So there are people lacking physical facilities. They are obviously unhappy and deprived. That's fine. I mean, they are there. But there are people who have physical facilities, unhappy and deprived. And a major problem is with these people. Right? We still have physical facilities, lot of physical facilities, lot of money. We are still unhappy and deprived. And where do we have to be? We should be at having physical facilities, happy and prosperous. But where are we at now? Most of us here. Number 2, we are the troublemakers. Actually, these people don't do any trouble. Of course, this is also not needed. I mean, this is not what we want. 1 and 2 has to go to these 3. This is what everyone wants. This is by natural acceptance. This is what we want. But are we ensuring that? Are we able to reach here? And this is who needs to make sure this is happening. Reaching to 3, number 3. We as a teacher, we as a parent, we need to ensure that we are here, and we need to ensure our next generations, our children and our students reach here by understanding what prosperity is and ensuring its continuity. Okay, so the next topic, I will try to close it in 10 minutes, and we can have maybe 1 or 2 questions at the last. Okay, so let's try to do some self-verification. What is this self-verification that we are talking about? Okay, probably yesterday someone would have told you that take whatever is being said, take it as a proposal. Whatever is being said, whatever that we are discussing right now, take it as a proposal. Do not accept it to be true or even false for that matter. Take your time. Take your own time. Verify with your own right. We see, unfortunately, we have not been doing all this. We have been accepting, as it is in our own, education. Whatever teacher said, accept it. That's right. But have we verified it? That's why we have issues in understanding respect. I gave you an example, right? We've been looking at their behavior as respect, expression as respect. But what we need to understand is the feeling. That understanding we can only do when I do it with my own right, within myself. Okay, so this is a proposal. In fact, we can do this for everything that comes across to us. Every desire that comes across, every thought that comes across, every taste, every selection, every choices that I make has to be applied. This has to be applied, and we will see why. Okay, this self-verification process itself is a proposal to you. You don't really have to follow this. Take it as a proposal. Take this verification process itself as a proposal. Verify, see if this helps you. Then only you take it. Okay, so the proposal is first step, verify on you with your natural acceptance. First step is to verify with your own natural acceptance whether it is naturally acceptable to me or not. Okay, if first step passes, live with it. Okay, so you experiment with your neighbor or with the other person or with nature if you're talking about objects. Okay, if it is leading to mutual happiness with the other person, then it's a right proposal. It becomes right. Right means it reaches to reality. Okay, so that becomes it's a reality. It's a right understanding, and right means it's a reality here. If it is right, we both are seeing the reality, and that's what we all need, right? And if you are talking about objects, if it is leading to mutual prosperity, we have already seen, right? Everything in nature other than human being is already coexisting with each other. Everything is mutually prosperous. Of course, the feeling is not there. Feeling is there only in human beings. Everything is already in prosperity. As I said, a mango tree, mango seed will give rise to thousands of mangoes and thousands of seeds further. It multiplies. So that prosperity is already there. And if we are working with nature, we are working with objects, I become prosperous, I get multiple mangoes, and I can also share that to others. They also become prosperous, leading to mutual prosperity. Are we able to see this? And if we see this, it becomes the reality. Then we are actually coexisting with nature when it is leading to mutual prosperity. Okay, so let's take few examples. Okay, I will actually give you an assignment. We will actually continue this with this assignment tomorrow also. Okay, we will continue with this assignment tomorrow also. So make 3 columns. Okay, 3 columns, 4 columns for now, 4 columns in a sheet, two pages. Try to make 2 pages of this. On the left column, leftmost column, you write all the desires that you have. Okay, all my desires that I have. Okay, desires means my, even if I want to have a chocolate now, that also becomes a desire. I want to eat a chocolate. I want to have a mango. Talking about mango, I just remembered of mango. I want to have a mango. That also is a desire. So like that, you may have lot of desires. Lot of desires. Right? Okay, try to list them. Try to fill them in 2 pages. Okay. All of this you try to come up with tomorrow. Okay. And the next column that you have, we will try to explore, try to make this self-verification process. So let's say I want to respect. Respect is one of the desires that I have. I want to respect elders. Okay, respect elders is the desire that I have. We've been told, right, in moral values or whatever. Okay, so respect elders. So now take this as a respecting elders with your natural acceptance. Check. Okay, respect elders. Yeah, is okay. Respecting elders should be good. Yeah, right. So it is naturally acceptable to me. So go to right side. Behave with human beings. Okay, with elders. Okay, with elders, you behave with it. Are they happy? When you express respect, say namaste, touch their feet. Okay, you talk nicely, politely to them. Are they happy? Yes, they are happy. Are you happy by doing that? Yes, I am happy. So it is leading to mutual happiness. Respecting elders leading to mutual happiness. Okay, but what about children? Okay. Okay, respect children. See, the proposal is respect elders only here. Okay, what have we done to our children? What is it leading to? When we understand it as respect elders only, then we don't give respect, right? I mean, are children happy by not giving respect? Abe idrabe. When I say to my child or someone, will they feel happy? Will the child feel happy? No, right? So now proposal is respect everyone. Is respect everyone is the proposal, or respect elders is only a part of it, which leads to mutual happiness with every human being. That leads to the right understanding. So respect is universal value, universal human value, one of the universal human value that we are talking about. So respect is a right proposal. Then it leads to right understanding. So we will understand respect little later, what it is, the definition of it, whether it is really universal or not, we will see little later. Okay, when we talk about relationships in family. Okay, what about bad habits like smoking, cigarette smoking? Okay, let's take that as a proposal. So yeah, I will take it respect smoking. Yeah, okay, I like it. There are people who are liking it. There are people smoking, so they are also happy. Okay, so first step passes. Now you live with it. Okay, have smoke in front of your family, your students, your people around you, friends. Okay, check whether it is leading to mutual happiness. I'm not talking about only one set of people. I'm talking about everyone else around you. Okay, is it leading to mutual happiness? You are happy and the other person also is happy. If not, then it's not right understanding. It's not reality. It's not good. Whether it is leading to prosperity, you are ending up spending some money for it. Okay, whether it is leading to prosperity or not, that also needs to be checked. Anything, for example, one example that I give you in IIIT when we are taking this workshop, some of us basically, one of the students said one of the desires that he had is to marry Aishwarya Rai. That was some 10 years back when she was quite young, and this guy is younger than her actually. He's in first year engineering, right? And yeah, we asked him to check this proposal, self-verification process. Okay, so a lot of people are there. I become happy. It's naturally acceptable to me. Then he went to second step. Whether you become happy, and what about her? Will she be happy marrying you? Okay, whether you will be able to make her prosperous, whether you will be able to give all the money that she wants. She already has a lot of money, and then she may still want a lot of money again, right? So I mean, all these things have to be checked. And in fact, if we look at lot of desires that we have, when we filter them through this process, they will get rejected. And in fact, our mind has so many desires, so many thoughts that are coming. It is like making us depressed, making us stressed. And when we have all these proposals, all these thoughts, desires that we have, put them in this self-verification process, then keep on doing this process, it doesn't take much time also, right? It's like small, these imaginations that we have in our mind happens in fractions of seconds. In fact, we think that it is a long process, lengthy process. No, it's a very simple process. It happens, it can happen all the time. Every thought that we have, every desire that we get, if you do this, lot of desires, lot of thoughts will just vanish. 90%, more than 90% of our thoughts are junk. What we've been thinking, what we are desiring are all junk. And imagine a state where we have very few desires to, work for, very few thoughts, very less stress that we have. So much peaceful life that we can have with this, right? So yeah, so that's it for today. It's 1:30. I can take up one or two questions. Okay, and then we can go further. Okay, any questions that I can take up? Yeah, somebody asked, prosperity is the path to happiness. Yes, ma'am. See, prosperity also is a feeling, right? It's a feeling that leads to, yes, happiness, right? So ultimately, it's the happiness. But prosperity is a feeling, but with respect to physical facilities. And other thing that I want to tell you is, I missed to tell you is, with physical facilities, we cannot get happiness. We can only get pleasure. Whatever that we get out of our senses. Okay, smell, touch, taste, hear, all of this will only gives us pleasure. We are confused this pleasure with happiness, and that cannot sustain. How long can you be happy by eating very delicious food? How long can we be happy with that? Whatever movie that we go, however comedy that it has, how long can we see that? Right? You know, the clothes that we wear, the show off that we are trying to get, the attraction that we are trying to get out of, beautifying ourselves with lot of gadgets, lot of, fancy dresses, big cars, BMW, Mercedes, and whatnot. How long are we happy with that? What we want is continuous happiness, but are we ending up being happy continuously with these kind of things? So where is this happiness? Yes. So someone asked, but every time being prosperous is not possible. Why not is the question that I have to you. So if not, then we should work for that. So let me ask you, don't we have all the things that we all need? Don't we have the food? Most of us, in fact, don't we have food at all? Sometimes maybe, but that's basically because someone is forcing us to be at one place or something like that. But then most of us have enough food already. Most of us have enough clothes already. How many clothes do we need? Limited or unlimited? How many pairs of clothes do we need really? Of course, it changes. It varies person to person depending on the place where he lives, where he or she lives. It may be varying, but then limited or unlimited? How many pairs of clothes do we have? More than what we need, more than what we need, or less than what we need? Of course, we all have enough place to live. Everyone has, rented or own house or whatever. Everyone has enough homes to live, enough place to live, and enough gadgets. Almost everyone has a phone here. Everyone has, all the physical things that we all need anyways. And why are we still not prosperous? Why are we still not feeling prosperous? And I'm not saying that we should not have all this. We should have all this and feel prosperous. Yes, good question, ma'am. Okay, being happy is the true happy, then showing happy. How achieve it, sir? Yes, so all these 7 days is all about that. How to be continuously happy. We have only talked about introduction basically. So if I understand myself to start with, if I understand the relationships in family, if I understand my role and responsibility towards society and nature eventually, nature and existence, we can be continuously happy. It is very much possible, and we will see all that. Okay, so now we have a direction. So I have now set a direction how I can be happy, but we have not experienced it. So let's try to explore all of this, tomorrow, day after, little more, and then we'll try to explore and we will see whether it is really possible or not. Definitely. Any other example of prosperity? Anything, sir. For example, I just told you that, we are already prosperous actually. It's just that feeling is not there. That, when I, for example, when I don't understand prosperity, I look outside. Like for example, going to 5-star hotel. Okay, 5-star hotel, is it my requirement? Is the physical facility needed for me, or is it for someone else has told me that going to 5-star hotel is making you happy? If someone else has told me that it will make me happy, it is come from outside, and the requirement that I have is to have food. Physical facility is my requirement, and going to 5-star hotel does not make me prosperous. It makes me rich, that's all. Rich doesn't mean making me prosperous. We are not talking about all the rich people that we see out there. Are they all happy? And are we able to ensure that they are all happy? Not really. They have lots and lots of money, but then they are not really happy, right? Are they able to see? When we have feeling of prosperity, we can be happy. Okay, so what we mean by availability with right skills, right? So when I understand like what prosperity means that I need to have physical facilities, and I identify how many, what, and I will work for that. See, whatever that job that we are doing, since I cannot produce all of that by myself, but I do some other work, I get some money, some salary. With that, I can ensure those physical facilities. I can ensure whatever that I need. So for that, I need to have some skills. So I'm a software engineer. I work as a software engineer. So some skills that I have in software. So I work for that with right understanding. Other than that, if I don't have that understanding, then even as a software engineer, I try to get more and more promotions, more and more money, more, I keep on jumping companies. But then is it making me happy? I'm not saying that I should not jump companies, I should not get a hike. That's not the goal. If I am happy, if I understand the right skills, if I understand the relationships with the other person, they will only give me the promotion. I don't need to look for that. They will only. In fact, I have 20 years of experience. Lot of promotions that I have already got. In fact, the amount of money that I get is much more than I deserve. I'm at least feeling prosperous in that way. So, but then I am getting it. So I'm actually trying to feel prosperous. I am getting much more than what I need. Whether I am really sharing it or not is still I need to work on. Yeah, yes, definitely. But yes. So I think, yeah, I taken a couple of questions. So let's start. So let's stop this session for today. We will come back in the afternoon session, which I think someone else is taking. So any further questions, we can always be in touch. So thank you so much.